Okay, let's talk about that dreaded check engine light. You know the feeling. It pops on, your stomach does a little flip, and you're just left wondering, what in the world is going on under the hood? Well, if you're driving a Ford and the code reader spits out P0751, you are in the right place. We're going to completely demystify this code and figure out exactly what your car is trying to tell you.
So what is your Ford trying to say with this specific code? P0751 isn't just a random string of characters. It's a very specific clue. And it's one you really don't want to ignore because it can lead to some not-so-fun stuff like bad fuel economy, really rough shifting, and maybe even some serious transmission damage. Think of it like a little diagnostic mystery, and we're going to solve it together. All right, so the official technical diagnosis points to shift solenoid A performance, or, to put it more simply, that it's stuck off. Now, I know that probably sounds like a bunch of jargon, but don't let it worry you. We're about to break down exactly what a shift solenoid is, what its job is, and why it being stuck off is causing that light to glare at you from your dash.
So, where's this message coming from? It's being sent by the powertrain control module, or what we call the PCM. The absolute easiest way to think of the PCM is as your vehicle's brain. It's on the job 24/7, just constantly monitoring everything to make sure the engine and transmission are playing nice together.
So what happened here? Well, your car's brain, the PCM, was running one of its routine self-tests, and it found something. It detected a specific mechanical failure. This isn't just some random computer glitch, it's a confirmed problem with a part that's absolutely essential for your car to shift gears smoothly.
And that brings us right to Section 1. It's time to meet the key player at the very center of this whole issue, shift solenoid A. Trust me, understanding what this little part does is the absolute key to fixing the whole problem. So what in the world is a shift solenoid? Okay, imagine a small electronically controlled gate that lives inside your transmission. When your car's brain, the PCM, decides it's time to shift gears, it sends a little electrical signal to this gate. The gate swings open, it directs the flow of transmission fluid, and that change in fluid pressure is what actually makes the gear shift happen. Pretty cool, right? And this right here perfectly explains the core problem. The code P0751 means that this specific gate, solenoid A, is stuck off. The PCM is sending the signal, it's yelling, "Open the gate," but the gate just isn't opening. The fluid isn't going where it's supposed to, and so the gear shift just can't happen the way it should. Okay, so we know the solenoid is stuck. The next logical question has to be, why? So let's start our investigation. We're going to look into the 4 potential culprits behind this failure.
We've got 4 main suspects in our lineup. First, it could be an electrical issue. The solenoid just isn't getting the message from the brain. Second, a mechanical failure. The solenoid itself is just broken. Third, we could have a hydraulic problem. This could mean your transmission fluid is low or dirty, or there's some kind of blockage. And finally, the least likely suspect of all, the PCM, the brain itself, has failed.
Now for the part I'm sure you've been waiting for. Knowing what could be wrong is one thing, but knowing how to actually fix it, well, that's everything. In this section, we're going to match a clear solution to each of the problems we just identified. And what's really great here is just how logical these solutions are. If it's stuck off, the first thing you do is check the electrical connection. If that looks fine, then you replace the solenoid. For any kind of internal mechanical or hydraulic failure inside the solenoid, the answer is pretty much always going to be to just pop in a new one. And in that super rare case of a PCM failure, you guessed it, the brain itself gets replaced.
So we know the what, the why, and the how. Now let's put it all together into a really clear action plan. Think of this as your roadmap for diagnosing and finally tackling that P0751 code.
Okay, here's how you want to do this. You need to follow this diagnostic path, always starting with the simplest, cheapest fixes. Step 1, check those connections. Look for loose or corroded wires. It's the easiest and cheapest place to start, period. If the wiring looks good, you move to step 2. Now the solenoid itself becomes your prime suspect. If the problem is still there, step 3 is to assess the hydraulics. And finally, if all else fails, it's time for step 4. You consult a pro to check the PCM. Following this exact order is the key to not spending money on repairs you don't need.
And all this brings us to a final and pretty crucial question. While the P0751 code can definitely be a straightforward fix, it's also a direct message about the overall health of your transmission. So you got to ask yourself, is this just a single part that failed, or is this the first warning sign of a much bigger issue waiting for you down the road?